Okay, let's get started. So yesterday I requested everyone to download Eclipse, and I'm assuming that you guys have downloaded and extracted the tool. Right? Yesterday I shared this what to download, all the stuff. So I'm assuming that I'm assuming that you guys have downloaded them and extracted that. Okay. There's a question here. Will you be teaching any other topics other than the courses list you mentioned? So these are the topics that I will be covering. So apart from that, if what are the topics that you are looking for? If you have a list, please let me know. But these are the topics that would be covered during this course. Okay. Now, so yesterday I asked, request every one of you to download Eclipse. So I'm assuming that you have downloaded, and if you have extracted that, you will see something like this. Okay, and in that, double click on eclipse.exe. So once you click, let me just show you a video. Okay, let me show you a video. Can you guys go ahead and double click on Eclipse? So once you double click on Eclipse, okay, you will see a dialog something like this. It asks you, hey, where do you want to save all your programs? Whatever Java programs that you will write, it will ask you where do you want to save them. So just select the location. Like for example, this guy has selected a folder called workspace, which is in this particular folder. So select any folder and click on OK. Once you do that, you will see a window something like this. I want every one of you to start Eclipse and make sure you see a window something like this. Okay. Please go ahead and do that. I'll wait until I hear from you. So when you say web services, you mean web applications. Web services are not web applications. Web services are, for example, Amazon.com. Amazon.com is a website which uses a lot of web services. So I'll explain web services when we cover that topic. Explaining now, you might not be able to understand. Web applications will be covered in JSPs and servlets. Web service is something that is very hot in the market right now. So when I say web service, you might, there's something called SOAP REST. These are the two terms that are used. If you Google for SOAP REST web services, you will see a lot of demand. Okay. Does everyone see the screen now? Are you able to see something like this? Welcome to Eclipse ID for Java developers. Question is, do we also get to know applet programming? Applet programming is not used anymore. So that's kind of an outdated topic. No one is using applets. So, and we're not going to cover that. Okay, so once you see this window, close this icon. Now, click on that cross icon that you see beside welcome. And once you close that, you will see a window something like this. You will see a window which is split something like this. So does everyone see a window that looks something like this? Okay. So I'll share a document in Google Docs. So you should be receiving that email shortly. So you should receive an email in your Gmail, and once you click on that, it will actually show you something Java tutorial.zip. And once you get that, just right click and say download. So download that zip file onto your local machine. Okay. I'll wait for a minute. Please let me know if anyone has not received that email, or if you are not seeing the screen. Once you have extracted that, whatever the zip file that I've shared, once you have extracted that to your folder in Eclipse, click on File and Import. After that, here type existing. Type the word existing, and you should see under General Existing Projects into Workspace. Let me know if you are not seeing this particular option. Okay, I'll repeat that. So I'll go to File. Under File, I will import. And after I import, here I will type existing, the word existing. Then I should see this existing projects into workspace. So select that option. Once you do that, click on next, and here browse to the folder where you have extracted the project, the zip file that I've shared. So for example, I've extracted that to C Eclipse Workspace Java tutorial. So I will browse that folder here. Once you browse and click on this, this area, you will see something like this, Java tutorial. Please let me know if you're not seeing that. Browse that folder where you have extracted that and click here. The moment you click here, you should see Java tutorial here. Once you see that, select this. I have already Java tutorial, so it is not allowing me. Select this button and click on finish. Once you click on finish, you should see something like this, Java tutorial. Please let me know if anyone is not seeing this, if anyone is having any issues. Okay, I'll take a minute break here. Let me repeat this, okay? So under Eclipse, I'll select File, Import, and here I'll type existing. Then I'll use existing projects into workspace. Once I do that, select Next, and here I browse that folder, whatever folder that I have extracted to. And the moment I browse, I should see Java tutorial here. So I just, whatever the zip file that I've shared with you, you should have extracted that to a folder, something like this. And in that, you should see Java tutorial. So I'm browsing to this folder. So see Eclipse Workspace, Java tutorial. And then I'll click on this projects text box. Once I click, I should see Java tutorial. So select that. Select that. Right now I have Java imported here, so it's not allowing me. Click on this button and say finish. Okay, after you finish, you should see something like this, Java tutorial, SRC, and if you expand default package, you will see a couple of .java files. Okay, does everyone see that? Let me know if anyone has any issues here. Just record it. So if you want to create a new Java file, right click on this package, the default package, select new, other, and you should see a class here. Should see something called class. Select that class and click on next. You should see a window that looks like this. And here I will create a class called hello world and click on finish. So the moment I click on finish, it should create a class called hello world.java, and you will see public class hello world. Okay. So seems like someone is not able to see the default. You need to expand. After you expand SRC, you will see a default package. Okay. Is everyone able to create this class? Hello world. So I'll share this content in Copy that and paste inside hello world. It looks something like this. Copy and paste whatever I've shared in Skype. After you're done with that, now let's try to run this program. So to run this program, you can click on this play icon on the top. You can see that the moment I take my mouse pointer to that, you will see run hello world. And if I click on that, in the bottom you should see hello world. Whatever we typed here, you should see that there. Okay, please let me know if anyone is not seeing this output. Okay, so let's continue. What we just did, yeah.
I couldn't find that.
Example, all the output is shown in a window called console. All these are small windows. Right, if you can see, these are all small windows. And in case by accident you close this window, let's say I close this window, you can open that by typing the name of the window. So I can say console. And you can see that icon here. So at the moment I click, that window will appear. And let's say if I accidentally close this, just type package. You will see a package explorer. Click on that, that window will appear again. Okay, so you might have accidentally closed that window. So just remember the name of this window, and in case you close it, use this particular text box here to search for that. Okay, now let's move on and let's see what we just did. So we created a hello world.java file, and during the creation we just gave Eclipse that, hey, I want to create a class by the name hello world. So Eclipse automatically created a file with the same name, hello world. So it created a file hello world.java. And after you pasted what I gave you and you clicked on this run, Eclipse automatically did whatever we did earlier manually. Right? Earlier, in order to run a program, we had to, one second, where to start? We had to do a Java compile, right? We had to do a Java compile, and after that, you were manually running Java hello world, right? So now Eclipse has automated those things for you. You don't have to do any compilation. You just make any change. Let's say I'll just remove all these things and save. So this is a save icon. Save and run. Eclipse in the background, behind the scenes, it will automatically compile this Java file and it will automatically run that for you. And here it will show you the output. Okay, so you guys see the advantage, right? You're saving a lot of time. And I can easily open any file here. I can open multiple files here. All those files are opened as tabs. So these are some of the features that that we use in Eclipse on a day-to-day basis. And you will see a lot more usage, lot more advantages as we progress through the course. Beginning today, I want you to write all programs in Eclipse. Don't use Notepad or something like that. any program that you write, use Eclipse. Okay, so I'll not go more in deep about Eclipse. You'll be learning that over a period of time, but I'll share this YouTube video. Okay, and in case you want to search for more, go to YouTube and search for Eclipse tutorial. You'll find many videos. Just play them and follow them. You'll see videos which are like 10-minute, 15-minute thing. Okay, so make yourself familiar with this tool as much as possible. Okay, for example, instead of clicking on this, there are some shortcuts. Like say, the shortcut is Alt-Shift-XJ. So instead of clicking on that icon, I can press this Alt-Shift-XJ and it will automatically compile and run the program. Okay, so these are all time-saving tips for you. So that was Eclipse. And going forward, I will share this. These are called projects in Eclipse. All those things that you see, these are called projects. So today I shared with you a Eclipse project. Going forward, all the exercises, all the examples that we cover, I will share Eclipse projects. So you need to import them. You need to extract the zip file and import them like what you did today. Okay. And Eclipse is one of the most popular tool that are used out there. There are other tools, but by far Eclipse is the most popular tool. There are other IDEs, but Eclipse is the one that is most widely used. Okay. Any questions before we proceed further? Okay, so we have like 20 minutes left. Let's try to cover a few things today. Okay. So yesterday we discussed what a class and what an object is. Right. Today let's try to create a class called employee. So what I'll do is I'll follow the same thing. I'll go ahead. I'll say right click, new, other, and I'll create a class. Next, I will name my class as employee. Okay, and then click on finish. So Eclipse should automatically create a file called employee.java and open that. Okay. Now tell me what should be the attributes of an employee. What are the attributes of an employee? So I'll say string employee ID. I'll say string name. Okay. I'll say string email. Okay. I'll just use these three for now. I'm just lazy in typing. I'll just use these three for now. So these are called, as I said yesterday, these are called fields also. Fields in Java. Okay. So I'll write that here. In Java, / indicates a comment. So I'm writing a comment. So these are known as attributes or fields. Okay. So these are the attributes. Now let's try to create some employee object. Okay. Yeah, in case there's an existing class, you cannot create that in Eclipse. So just create with some other name, because Java files, .java files should be unique. Right? In a folder, you can have unique file names. You cannot have two files with the same name, right? Similarly, in Eclipse, you cannot have two Java files with the same name. So just create a new file or delete the existing file. So in this case, I created a class called employee, and I have 3 attributes. And right now, these are known as data types. I need to tell what kind of a type my employee ID is. For now, we will use everything as string, right? Everyone understands what a string is, right? Is there anyone who does not understand string? What a string is? Okay. So no answer. I'm assuming that you all understand what a string is. A string is nothing but a bunch of characters. Okay. So you need to tell what kind of a value this is. So here we are saying that this is a string. Okay. And every statement in Java needs to be finished with a semicolon. If I don't give a semicolon, I'll get an error here. So if you can see here, it says it's an error. This red icon that you see is an error. And it clearly tells you it's a syntax error. Insert a semicolon to complete the body. So every line should be terminated by a semicolon. So the moment I give semicolon, that cross goes. Okay. And you might not be seeing these line numbers. If you want to see the line numbers, just right click on that white bar and select show line numbers. I'll right click on this white bar and say show line numbers. Oops. So now it is showing me line numbers there. Okay. So I have declared 3 string fields in my employee class. Let's try to create these employees. Let's try to create 2 or more employees. Okay. So in order to run a Java program, you need to have something called a main method. Okay, we'll discuss what a main method in a while. When we cover the topic of methods, I'll just write a main method. Okay, you know that what this is all about. What this means, ignore that for now. Now we have defined a class called employee, which has got 3 attributes. Let's try to create objects. Okay, so I'll say employee E1 is equal to new So this creates a new employee object. So here the word new, this is a keyword. Keyword is something, a reserved word in Java. You cannot use that as a variable name. You cannot use that as an attribute name. Like for example, I cannot say something like string new. New is a reserved keyword, reserved word. It will throw an error. Just like I cannot use class, right? Likewise, new is a keyword in Java, and you will use new to create objects. So wherever you see the word new, that line indicates that you're creating an object. Okay. So in this case, I'm creating an object of employee. Employee is equal to new employee. And we'll get. In order to access these variables, these fields, attributes are also known as variables. Okay. So I'll be using these 3 words interchangeably. But they all mean I'm referring to the various attributes in a class. Okay. So in order to set data on this particular instance variable or on this particular variable, I will have to use object dot name is equal to, and since this is a string, I am saying the name of the employee is, like if I want to set the email, I'll say even dot email is equal to, let's say s@test.com. Oh, I need to put that in quotes. Okay. So what this does is it creates an object in memory and you are setting data to that particular object. Okay. Is that clear so far? What these 3 lines of code is doing? Okay. Now let me try to create another object. So let me just copy paste. Okay. So this is how I'm creating objects. So who can tell me how many objects were created here? Okay. Very good. Most of you have given the right answer. The answer is 2. So how do we know it is 2? A simple thing. Just take a look at new. How many times new is used? That is the number of times objects are created. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? So Vamsi, you had a question. Can we give employee ID integer and we declared it as string? So I'll cover what integer and all later on. But for now, let's assume everything is a string. Okay. So here we created 2 objects. And if you want to create another object, I just employee E3 is equal to E3 dot name, E3 dot value, right? So here I'm having three objects. I see new 3 times, so there are 3 objects. Okay, and object names have to be unique. For example, E1, E2. I cannot say under E1 here. I'll get a compilation error. It says E1 is already defined. Duplicate variable E1. E1 is already defined here. I cannot create another object with the same name here. Okay, so every object is unique. Okay, now does everyone understand these things? How to create new objects and all? Very good. Now I'll make a small change to this program. Form. Okay. So how many objects did I create now? See, I'm not getting any compilation error. If there's error, I'll see a into mark here. I'm not seeing any errors here. There is no red mark here. So how many objects did I create? Okay, so the answer is I created 3 objects. Remember I said just blindly take a look at how many times new operator is used. The new operator is used 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So in total we created 3 objects. Okay, but what is confusing is I'm using same names here, E1, E2, and I've created 3 objects. What is this happening here? Okay, so let's try to understand what this is. So let's assume we are creating student objects. Okay, wherein what you see here, the left to this equals to is a pointer. Here E1 is a pointer. The right hand side to the equals to is the actual object. what you see on the left hand side is not the object. It is just a pointer which is pointing to an object. Just like, if you want to enter into a car, you need a key, right? So this is like a key. This is just a key which is pointing to the object. And you use that key to access the object data. Okay? So this pointer is just pointing to the object. In this case, you are saying E1 is equal to new employee. E2 is equal to new employee. Okay? Now here, you are saying E1 is equal to new employee again. So up till now, E1 was pointing to an object whose name was Sam. Now here, you are saying that, hey E1, now point to this new object whose value is Tom. Okay? So just to give you an example, let's assume we are creating student. So I have an object called student. Okay, just to put a name, this is called a pointer. Okay, so I'm saying pointer 1, student underscore 1, point to someone called others. And then I have another pointer, student underscore 2, and I'm saying point to Sam. Just like what we did here. Okay, this point E1, pointer E2 are pointing to some objects whose name is Sam and Joe. After that, I'm saying pointer, let's say E2 or E1 is equal to new employee. So here the pointer, which earlier pointing to Sam, is now pointing to Joe. Right? It just, instead of pointing to the previous object, it is pointing to the new object. So the question was, how many objects did we create? We created 3 objects. But there are only 2 pointers to that. So this pointer is known as reference. Now since this second pointer is pointing to the new object, we lost contact with this particular second object. So this object is going to be deleted by the JVM. The JVM, it says if an object is not used, if an object is not pointed, it will delete that particular object. That is why we know Java uses something called auto memory management. Unlike C or C++ where you have to explicitly delete objects, Java is intelligent. It knows that this particular object has no pointer, so it will go ahead and delete this particular object from the memory. Okay, so this is known as a reference. The left hand side of the equals to is known as a reference. I call this as a reference or a pointer. I call this as a pointer because for you guys it's easy to understand. In Java world, this is known as a reference because it is referring to an object. Okay, and for people with C background, this is a pointer. The pointer is pointing to an object. I can configure the pointer to point any object. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Any questions here? So answer a question now. How many objects are created? How many pointers are created here? So here we created 3 objects and 2 references. Okay. So going forward, I will not use the word pointer anymore. I'll use the word reference because that is what is used in Java. Okay. Very good. Now let me change this. I just change this to see your understanding. Now, how many objects and how many pointers? how many references and how many objects have been created here. Okay, good job everyone. You're right. We have created 2 objects because the new operator is used only 2. And we are using 3 references, E1, E2 and E3. And it is just happening that you're saying, hey E3, point to the same object that E1 is pointing. So in this case, E1 is pointing to Sam. E3 also will point to Sam. Okay. Now if you want to print, I will use something called system.out.println, and here I will print the E1 name, E1 dot name. Okay. And I will print E3 dot name. Now when I run this program, I'll see the same output because both of them are pointing to the same object. Okay, is that clear? What are references and what are objects in Java? Okay, so Siddharth, you want me to repeat this? So as I said, the one that is left hand side is known as a reference. Just like a keychain to a car, you need something to enter into a car. So you will use reference in Java to access data inside an object. So here I created a new object, new employee. What you see to the right hand side is the object. What you see to the left hand side is the reference. So the reference E1 is pointing to an object whose name is Sam. Okay. Likewise, I created a new reference E2 which is pointing to a new employee object, and it is pointing to name called Joe. Okay. Now and here I'm saying employee E3 is equal to E1. Right? As I said, this is just a reference. It just points to whatever you point to. So here we created 2 objects, E1 and E2. And we are saying that here reference E3, you point to whatever object that E1 is pointing to. So in this case, E1 is pointing to an object whose name is Sam. So E3 also will be pointing to the same object as E1. Okay, is that clear? Okay. Now since they both are pointing to the same object, I'm able to, when I print E1.name, I'm getting the same output as E3.name. Okay. Now what I will do is I will say E1.name is equal to let's say Akash. Let me put some generic name. Say, Gary. Okay. So what will be the output? Line number 24. When I run this program, what will I see? Will I see Sam or will I see Sam Gary? Right? Can you tell me what will be the output of this program? Will it be Sam or will it be Sam Gary? Okay, let's run this program and see what will be the output. So I'll go run this, and the output is Sam Gary. Why is that? So we printed the value of e1.name, which was Sam, and after which we changed the name to Gary. Remember, E3 is pointing to the same object as E1. So if you change the value of E1, since E3 is pointing to the same object, E3 will also have the same value. Right? It's like, you have two keychains to the same car. I can get into the car using any one of those keychains. Likewise, both these references are pointing to the same object. So if I change the value on one, the other reference is pointing to the same object, right? So I'll get the updated value. Is that clear, everyone? How references work and how objects work? Okay. So there was a question earlier saying that you said that JVM will remove the unused objects if they are no longer referred by anything, but it will not show any compilation error. This may create problems while reading the code because the code might look clumsy. I don't understand why the code will look clumsy. That means as a developer you don't understand how objects and references work. If you don't understand, you will write clumsy code. So you need to understand how references and how objects work. And this is just a simple program. When you're dealing with hundreds of class files, you cannot, if you don't understand how these references work, you might not write efficient code. Okay, and a compilation is something that will just check for syntax errors. Like for example, here I can point E3 to some other object. So a compiler has no insights for the runtime. When you run your application, the compiler has no clue, because compiler is something that you do before you run the program. Remember, you compile and generate the .class file. .class file is what you run, and you create objects while you're running the program, not while compiling. Okay, did that answer your question, Vamsi? Okay, let's stop for today.